One leg and a passion for motors. Hey guys, Chris here. So you're about to watch a video that I made, and it's going to show you how to rebuild a front drive shaft for a 2014 F-150. So the four-wheel drive shaft has two CV joints on each end, and this video will show you how you can rebuild that drive shaft and save a ton of money by just replacing the CV joints. Ford doesn't list it as a repairable item. They want you to buy the whole shaft, but trust me, you can buy the CV joints specifically built for these shafts. Again, this is my way of doing things, so please do things however you feel they need to be done. This is just how I do them, and I hope this video helps you guys, and stay tuned for more. And again, alright guys, I apologize for losing all this video's audio. Again, I'm learning, and this silly camera, I'm learning what it can't do. However, I'll just do voiceover because this is a pretty important video, I think, because I haven't found anything like it. So here it is, guys. I'm showing the spline shaft on the CV joint that slides onto the front drive shaft. So this little clip sits on the drive shaft itself, about a ½ inch down. So you slide the CV joint on the axle, and then you get to the ring and it compresses the ring, and then you keep sliding it down and it goes click, and then you know that ring has expanded in the groove of the CV joint. So now, how to get that off once that clip has opened up inside the CV inner race. You can get lucky and build a little leg stand thing that you can weld to the top of the race and then slam it into the ground, and the weight of the hanging drive shaft will sometimes pop out if it's 100% center and it's not seized, and yeah, it doesn't work. Here's the part numbers for the CV joints. That's the one that I'm putting on now, and then the other one, I forget which is front and back, but the other side, I also have the part number for it, so I'll make sure that gets posted. So I'm showing where on the inner race, you just cut yourself 3 grooves just before you're about to hit the shaft. You don't want to go too far. And if you skip one space, it's best. 3 tight together wasn't enough space for me to get it the other side off, which you'll see. So make your 3 cuts, but skip a spot and make the other 2 or the 1, which however you decide. But nice thin grinding wheel. Once you get them cut, you take your chisel and position it on something solid and whack, and keep nailing it until you get that piece here I'm holding on that broke off. I didn't even have to hammer the other one, but so that worked out perfect. But see how I'm saying that 3 didn't give me enough space, but there's that ring, sorry, that I was pointing out. So yeah, it's damn near impossible. Damn near impossible. And I fought with it trying. I know I can do it, but no, my ring got caught up and it literally bent the ring inside. Once I get it off, you'll see. So now, to get the other one, I'm going to have to make another cut. So you'll get to see how I make the cut here. Again, get it positioned. I used the crutch or the indent on the hammer to hold the shaft for me. And again, go slow, stop the grinder, check your cut, like take your time. You don't want to nick the shaft at all. So we'll cut another groove in it. And another thing, when you do get this cut and you take the chisel and you go to put the chisel in and hammer away, be careful. Like, don't hammer on the bottom. Like, if the shaft's sitting on something like it is now on the hammer, don't go beating that chisel, because you'll bash in all the splines on the shaft, and then you're screwed. You'll have to file them all up, but chances are, yeah, at that point you might as well throw it away. So just take your time. Looks kind of cool with the sparks flying at the camera. So here I go. What I did, if you look close underneath the bottom, I put the old piece back in. Instead of the shaft resting on the hammer, it's resting on the old piece, as if it was a full gear again, or race, sorry. And I think she comes out. There we go. Whacker. Oh. The little Tanya Hardin did it. Look at that. Almost smashed my finger again. If you look real close, you'll see I have a black thumb already. I smashed it good. But anyway, so now I'm inspecting the shaft, and I'm going, oh shit. No cuts. It's nice. But the very top, from whacking it with the hammer, trying to get it to release. Oh, see the circlip, how it was sticking out a bit? That's how it got caught up in that gear. There was no way that was coming out. But yeah, I hammered the top, and just kind of compressed some of the splines. Not a big deal at all. It's at the very end, so I just take my fancy file set and I file out the 4 that kind of had a lip on them. I could have pounded the CV joint on as is, but I didn't want to mar it up, so I just cleaned up the grooves. Yeah, it's a rainy day and I'm hurting like hell. You can tell how I'm walking around like I'm a million years old. But yeah, this set I got off Amazon is absolutely amazing. It has every file you can think of and need. Nice tiny thin ones, and then it's got big ones, a rasp. So it's hit or miss with this stuff, and this was a hit. So I'm just finding the thinnest one in hopes that it'll fit between the splines on the drive shaft. And luck would have it, we got her. So I just file away. I think there was three grooves at the very top that just kind of bent them over the ever so slightly. Like, obviously it's not going to affect the performance or anything. It's just to get the CV joint back on nicely. So just clean it up. And also, if you finally get this done and go to the next step, do not forget to put your CV boot on, because once you slide that CV joint onto that shaft, you're screwed. You're not getting that boot on. So make sure you get that boot on. It could happen so easily, and I kind of chuckled when I was doing it, because I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, could you imagine? Then I thought about it more, and I'm like, oh shit, you could never do that, because you'd never get the damn thing back off. You'd have to cut it off. So I had put the boot on, and now I got the race, or the CV joint, on the splines. So I'm just tapping it down, and you're going to hammer it down, and eventually you're going to either feel it at a dead stop, or you're going to hear it go tick, and that means that little ring has expanded and it's past the groove, and you're good to go. What am I doing here? Oh, so when it comes time to snap those caps, there's a top cap and a bottom cap. Like, you'll notice when you take the old one apart, you got to really chisel and hammer at the caps to get them off. So they obviously compress, but instead of bending them all to shit, I'm going to put them on, put my bolts through, And then once they're on the truck, I'm gonna tighten the bolts, and I'll watch the cap, make sure the cap compresses and snaps on to the CV joint. Because I thought, I guess you could hammer them on, or why bend the hell out of it? So I'm gonna use the truck as my press when I put it back together. Also, don't forget when you put it back together, because this kit comes with brand new bolts. But if your bolts are in good shape, I would maybe use them. I don't know the quality of these bolts, but they are a black. They look to be a grade 10. But just don't forget your little shoes, because there's two bolts that are tied together, two. Those little spacer shoes like the valve covers have, and not valve covers, but oil pans on vehicles have. So yeah, put those little shoes on, and then yeah, it should slide right up into the truck. Now that CV joint, you can push on it and it'll go down almost an inch and a half, or you can pull on it and it'll extend itself, and it's not actually sliding on the shaft, it's just the balls in the CV joint that are allowing it to separate. So when you get it to the truck, don't panic because it's too short. Just pull on the end and get it to extend a bit, and then go ahead and tighten everything up. But this is a very cool very cool find for myself. I looked and looked and looked and couldn't find anything, and thought, oh my god. It didn't take me long to find the right CV joints, and I'm shocked that there's not more info out there about rebuilding the original shaft. And I'm not going to get into this being the absolute right way to do things. It's not. This is the way I do things. I'm doing it this way. I understand that it may be the tiniest bit out of weight, or out of balance, sorry. But I'm not concerned when I'm using four-wheel drive. It's on icy roads, or it's going slow through the bush. I'm never doing 1,000,000 miles an hour with 4x4, so I'm not really concerned about it. It'll be fine. You can't clock it. It doesn't matter where you turn it on the spline, as long as you are able to line everything up on the truck, and off you go. So I didn't rebuild the other side. I didn't need to. It's free and moves around, so I'm gonna leave that one. But that's it, guys. That's a rebuilt shaft. Hope you enjoyed.